Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 5-minute mark, the only show where I put 5 minutes on the clock to talk about everything and anything that I want. All right, so I tried filming this 2 days ago. I'm trying to figure out this new schedule so that way I don't miss a Monday. When I originally filmed the video, I was super quiet and the point didn't come across quite as clearly as I wanted it to. It didn't feel like I had a storyline to tell. So I'm refilming this today. Hopefully this goes out on the correct time. If it's a little late, I'm sorry. Let's put 5 minutes on the clock and get started. So originally I wanted to tell the story about heaven and how originally I had been told about heaven and kind of the evolution of the idea that I've had as I've grown. But it didn't feel like I said I had a storyline to tell. So instead I'm going to tell you something a little bit more personal, a story that's my own. So when I was a little bit younger, the only person who kind of pushed me into more of a religious direction was definitely my grandma. She would want me to go to church every Sunday. And when I was younger, I was down to go. But as I got older, I kind of got less interested and kind of less connected with God, I'd say. Because as a kid, I kind of just listened to the stories and would take them as stories. But the older I got, the more I started to think about the stories. And as I was listening to the pastor preach about the stories, for some reason, I always felt like it was circling back to the fact that God loves you and God is all merciful, and it didn't feel real. It felt like they were all stories that had a slight coating of everything's gonna be okay, when that's not what the stories all are. Especially growing up now and listening to the stories back, some of the stories are insane and some of the stories have a lot to do with suffering. I guess to give them some credit, when I was younger, obviously they're preaching to somebody who's younger, so they don't want to scare you away by telling all the scary stories and all the insane stories that are in the Bible that have to do with sacrifice and things like that, and instead trying to make it seem a little bit more approachable and friendly. But like I said, the older I got, the less believable I thought that narrative was of kind of everything's going to be okay, God is all merciful. So naturally my relationship with even God became more distant. I was praying and I was doing all these things, but I didn't know why, and I didn't know the importance, and I also didn't feel like I was really talking to anybody. Every time I prayed, it felt like an empty string of words that I would just say in the air and hope that somebody would hear me. The only thing that I could really equate it to is apologizing for something that you're not really sorry for. It's the same feeling of kind of empty words going nowhere. But the biggest thing that really changed my perspective on religion and the ideas that come with it was this guy, Jordan Peterson. I found this guy and his biblical lectures. He did a 13-part, 12-part series on the Bible. I believe he went over the Old Testament. He went into the stories in depth, but also in a more psychological way. The series is literally called The Psychological Significance of the Biblical Stories. And as I was growing up, I became very fond of psychology, and I absolutely love the ideas that come with psychology. So joining the two worlds like I had never seen before was super interesting to me. And so I just naturally became super obsessed. They're about 2-hour-long videos, and like I said, about a 13-part series. And I've watched every single episode at least 4 times, I want to say. But he goes into the stories and really talks about the characters, not just God being all merciful. He really goes into Cain and Abel and the ideas associated with the characters and how they could be kind of symbols within the stories of how you can feel, and how Cain is kind of what could happen if you let everything wrong go in your life and you destroy your ideal. And Cain is what could happen to you if you do all the wrong things and you kill your ideal, basically. If you destroy that, then you could turn into Cain. In a way, it's symbolic, not really literal. And that's the biggest thing I think that Jordan Peterson did for me as far as everything in religion. It made it seem like it's okay that these are stories, but they actually mean something. They actually mean, if you look into them a little bit more and know the psychology behind things as he does, then they could mean a lot more than just stories that seem fake because people are giving you this narrative of God loves you. And although yes, that is true, he does love everybody, and I wholeheartedly believe that, there was always an element that was missing. And so I think Jordan Peterson really brings that in and really gave me clarity, and like it kind of changed my whole perspective. And now I think my relationship with God and I guess religion in general has never been stronger. It's also never been different. It's never been so different. I probably couldn't even tell you how different it is. Like that would have to be a whole nother episode. I already went past my 5 minutes, so I'm going to end it here. I'm not trying to push any sort of narrative to anybody. I was literally just trying to explain, and hopefully I did. I don't know if I did a good job of kind of the change and the evolution of my experience with God and religion in general, and how my mind is now. If you know who Jordan Peterson is, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'll leave some of his links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Peace.